NPS Now, your source for news and information about Norfolk Public Schools. I'm your host, Karen Tanner. And with us today is Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Samuel King, and Executive Director of School Improvement, Dr. Sherrod Willaford. Thank you for joining us here on NPS Now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to have you. Norfolk has made some great gains in percentages of students passing the state SOLs, and we still have some challenges ahead of us that we're addressing for our schools to become in full accreditation. Dr. King, you recently went to Richmond on behalf of two of our schools, Booker T and Tidewater Park. We know Booker T was denied, and then Tidewater Park received conditional accreditation.
Right.
What do you see as the major strengths for Booker T and Tidewater Park Elementary School?
Well, you know, the decision centered on progress. And as we consider Booker T Washington High School, the graduation and completion rate was one major area of focus for Booker T. And they grew from a 76% graduation rate to 83% in 1 year.
Right.
So great growth, you know, great growth, and that was a facet of the presentation to the state board to emphasize the growth that the school had experienced. And so the net effect of that was that Booker T fell short by 2 percentage points, only 2 percentage points of the state's requirement, which was 85%. And Booker T was 83%.
Okay.
But again, it grew by 7 percentage points in 1 year in terms of its graduation rate. The other item of importance that is noteworthy centers on the fact that they offer the credit recovery opportunities in what I consider a very innovative way, in innovative procedures during the school day. So that students who need to recover credits, they have that opportunity, and you have the opportunity to build that into a customized schedule for students. Of course, Booker T is an example of that as well. The credit recovery opportunities really will tie into progress around the graduation rate as well. And also having students being successful on the first round, you
Right.
know, and that's what we want to see happen.
So what about Tidewater Park?
Tidewater Park experienced growth across several areas. Tidewater Park realized an 11 percentage point increase in English, also a 16 percentage point increase in mathematics, and also improvements in 4 targeted areas within the school improvement plan, which included what I refer to as the affective domain in some cases, and it included the climate, included their focus on positive discipline, and in addition to the increases from an academic standpoint. And so, as you alluded to earlier, the state board granted the request for Tidewater Park, denied the request for Booker T. However, we remain very proud of the work that has been done in a short period of time, and also realize that we have what I refer to as a steep climb ahead, and we will continue to stay focused on that, and we want to see the percentage of students meeting and exceeding standards increase consistently, and
at both schools and in all
laser-like
of
focus.
them.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And what are the next steps for these schools, Dr. Willaford?
Well, the next steps for both Tidewater Park and Booker T Washington High School would be to establish corrective action plans that will support us moving forward and achieving the targets, state targets. And so what you can expect within the next couple of weeks is being able to identify those dates and sharing those dates with the public to be able to comment on the corrective action plan that we will develop for both schools. And of course, those corrective action plans will be developed to help the schools improve, and we will get input from our Office of School Improvement at the state level, as well as the involvement of various departments within Norfolk Public Schools. And so once we develop those corrective action plans, again, we will display them and get public input on them so that we can get the public's input, community's input on them. And then from there, share that with the state agency, and continue to move forward with school improvement.
Right, and so your office, School Improvement, was created to assist those schools who are in priority or focus areas. How are we providing that type of support for Booker T when it comes to your office and for Tidewater Park and then any other schools that fall into those categories?
One thing that the Office of School Turnaround and Improvement has been able to do is to align the support that's given to Booker T. Washington, Tidewater Park, and other schools by sharing the responsibility for instructional leadership. In many schools, most schools, the principal is the instructional leader in that school. And so by creating this Office of School Turnaround and Improvement, we're able to work collaboratively across departments within our central administration building and bringing that to support to the building level. On a monthly basis, we look at the school improvement plan. We monitor the interventions that are taking place each month and discuss as a team best practices to either continue or discontinue for the school in an effort to receive rapid improvement and to accelerate the student achievement within the time span that we have.
Right, and so in essence, the sole purpose is to bring all of our schools in those focus and priority areas to full accreditation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Dr. King, what are we doing to get our other schools into accreditation or remain in accreditation status?
Focuses on customized planning for each individual school. And by that I refer to the school improvement plan as its site-based plan. Disaggregation of the data from a formative standpoint. So that means that each individual school is required to analyze its strengths and weaknesses across subject areas, accountable subject areas, determine what those weaknesses are, what those challenges are, down to what I refer to as the element of the domain for that particular subject area. Once that is done, then the school develops a process to address those items of concern.
Right.
And that's done from a formative standpoint so that we can have real-time routine snapshots of progress or lack thereof. And so when we lack progress in terms of a formative check, we require and expect each school to provide what we refer to as safety nets to close the gaps around the lack of mastery. In addition to closing the gap and the safety net piece, we also expect and require that schools implement enrichment, because there are examples of students, not just students that are struggling, but there are also examples of students that are getting the job done and exceeding standards. When that happens, then we want to sustain that and then work to take it to the next level. So enrichment is just as important as a safety net or a remediation or intervention approach as well.
And so we're raising the floor and the ceiling at the same time, as you always say.
A more laser-like focus on that each day. And I feel that schools are getting better and better with addressing those needs for individual students from a customized standpoint. And that is actually what it's going to take to see our schools move to full accreditation. And ultimately, at the summative standpoint, have an increased percentage of students meeting and exceeding. That's required to reach full accreditation, and so that's where we are.
Right, and I think we've done a great job of communicating to our public just where we are in our district. And Willaford, I want to ask you, Dr. Willaford, a question. If you can go back and really make it clear for our audience what the different accreditation levels mean, from conditionally accredited waivers to conditionally accredited, denied accreditation. If you can just go over those for us real quick.
Well, first you have to understand that we have two different mechanisms for accountability in our state. We have to meet federal standards, and we have to meet state standards as well. And so when we speak of the federal standards, the main connection I think that everyone can understand is No Child Left Behind, and understand when that was legislation was put into place. And so after No Child Left Behind, although we're still under No Child Left Behind, the state has a waiver, federal waiver, because under No Child Left Behind, it said that all students would meet or exceed state standards by, I want to say it was 2013. And that didn't happen, and so we were able to have a waiver in Virginia and in many other states across the nation. Well, as in turn for our waiver, we still have to designate schools in certain areas. In Virginia, you designate those Title I schools that are low performing. The lowest 5% are priority schools, and the lowest 10% in gap groups are focus schools. And so that's where you see some of our low performing schools there. You also have reward schools for schools that exceed the requirements. You also have state accreditation, where that hasn't changed. State accreditation, you're expected to meet state benchmarks each year.
And the benchmark is what, 70%, 80%?
75 at this point for reading, language arts, and then 70% in math, social studies, and science. And so if you do not meet state accreditation, then your school is accredited with warning. You have to meet state accreditation across all content areas, or your school would be accredited with warning in the first year. If you don't meet it in the second year, then your school is accredited with warning in the second year, and so on. So there's an absolute bar that schools must meet in order to make state to be fully accredited. If a school is not fully, a school is accredited with warning 3 years in a row, in that fourth year, and if the school does not meet full accreditation, then the school is denied accreditation. And that's part of your state accreditation.
Right.
Now, a local education agency, Norfolk Public Schools, can pursue conditional accreditation, which that's the process that we pursued for 2 of our schools. You can pursue conditional accreditation in lieu of the denied accreditation status.
Right. I just want to thank you two for coming on the show and kind of clarifying and explaining our school improvement plan and just what's happening with Booker T and with Tidewater Park. And we're going to have some principals on later on in the show to talk more about their schools. So thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Great to have you. And you stay tuned for more NPS Now. Welcome back to NPS Now. With us now is Adrian Day, principal of Booker T. Washington High School, and her graduation coach, Stephanie Hazel. Welcome, ladies, to NPS Now.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm glad to have you. I'm a proud Booker T mom and excited to have you guys here today. And I'm going to start with you, Ms. Day. A few months ago, Dr. King went to Richmond to make the case for your school to receive conditional accreditation. How close were you, and what significant gains has Booker T made?
We have made significant gains. In the GCI, or Graduation Completion Index, we gained 7 points, which allowed us to be able to get very close to the 85% that the state was requiring. We were at 85%, so that's serious gains, and we're very proud of our gains. We did meet the expectation for English. We fell shy in science, social studies, and math, and we are working very, very hard to meet the 70% benchmark this school year.
And you mentioned the GCI, and Stephanie kind of explained that for us and how it's calculated.
Well, I know we are actually happy that we were increasing our GCI by 7%, but we actually had the number of 83.97. So we needed 84.5%, which is what the state mandates, and we were close, but just not enough to reach the actual goal that is required. Now, with the Graduation Completion Index, it takes into account several pieces of data, starting with the students that should be in a particular cohort in 4 years, the time they enter 9th grade, to the time they leave us in 4 years' time. That cohort this year is the 2015 cohort. So all students entering 9th grade in 2011 should be graduating in 2015. Within those numbers, we have students that will receive diplomas, and we actually have a point system assigned to those students. 100 points for those students that do achieve a diploma. We have points assigned to students that receive the ISAPE GED, and those students are assigned 75 points. We have students that still are enrolled with us, and of course, they receive points at 70. Those points that we do not receive, which really does hurt our GCI, is the dropouts. The dropouts will determine the number of zeros that gets calculated into our GCI number, and that can make or break achievement as far as reaching that 85%.
So what did you do to raise the GCI by 7%?
I'll tell you, it was a lot of dialogue with students that were in jeopardy. And we tier our students, so I'm looking at that tier 3 group of students. Attendance, of course, is crucial. They need to be in school in order to get the instruction that they need. And then we're also looking at students that are out of school due to discipline issues, and then, of course, grades. Failing grades is definitely something that will affect student achievement. So we work on having recovery programs in place for those students during the day as well as after school.
Yeah, tell us about your credit recovery program.
Our credit recovery program is Mondays and Wednesdays from 4 to 6:30. We offer free dinner, and we also offer free transportation. So if students are in jeopardy of not passing a course, or they had a course from last year that they did not pass, we make sure that we have certified teachers in place to work with them to recover credit. They take an assessment at the end, so it is a program where students are actually getting instruction. I want to also piggyback on Ms. Hazell. She's very modest. She actually hit the pavement. We actually would go out to homes to retrieve dropouts, to let them know about credit recovery programs, about attendance buyback programs, about the open campus programs that we have. So she does hit the pavement. I've gone with her to homes. Our police officer has gone with her to homes. So we do try to work with parents and students to find out why they've dropped out, why they're not coming to school, and be able to share with them all of the great things that's occurring at Booker T. Washington.
And there are some other great things that you're doing at Booker T to raise achievement. What are some other things you're doing, Ms. Hazell?
Well, we have Senior Academy, and we have those students that come in after school from 4 to 6:30, and we have, of course, dinner and transportation available for them. We also have credit recovery, attendance buybacks, and that's also after school as well. We do have students that have supports in place during the school day, and those students, of course, are getting the best instruction while all teachers are present during that day.
So what does that look like during the day?
That looks like what we put in our master schedule. We call it safety nets. So if students do not perform well on their assessments throughout the school year, they're able to be pulled out at certain times during their elective classes so that the teachers can work with them on the strands that they were not successful in. So it is very powerful because a lot of students have challenges after school and on Saturdays, and they're not able to attend. So we want to make sure that we're providing instruction for them during the instructional day while they're there.
Right, this is great. And so you just recently held a college and career fair. How do you think that's going to help with student achievement?
Well, it gives them a focus on where they like to go, the next steps from high school to career, of course, work, college. So they have many options to choose from. We had military presenters, we had businesses there presenting. So a lot of them do focus on a specific career goal, and having that was really very helpful for those students to kind of finalize some of their decisions.
And Booker T has great options and opportunities, and you all have the AVID model. Can you kind of explain that for our
The
viewers?
I'm sorry, the AVID model is advancement via individual determination, and it's a college and career program. And what we've done this year, even though we haven't started implementation, full implementation where we have the AVID elective, we will start that second semester, but we have started the college theme. So we have college banners from colleges throughout the United States posted around our school and in the cafeteria. So students are able to see, hey, I see Norfolk State and I see Old Dominion, but where's Rutgers? Or where is, Cornell? So they're able to see and be able to ask questions when they see the college banners. We also did this year the AVID Week, where students were able to dress for success. They were able to share their goals. We had a door decorating contest, so students were able to, post their goals. And so that's been a goal-setting campaign for us as well. We want our students to know that we want them to be college and career ready. Picking back on the part about the college and career fair, students were actually able to be accepted into colleges and universities that day. So that was also something that was very exciting, and they were like, oh, I can get into college today? Yes, you can. So they actually received letters of acceptance on that college and career day as well. So that was also very empowering. That will be able to help them say, I am going to graduate and I have a place to go in July and August. So that was very exciting.
And your marquee noted, I think, 90,000 in scholarships?
Yes. Just
And
on that
climbing,
one
wow.
day, yes, and climbing. But that particular day, $90,000 was awarded. Students went home with their acceptance letters and their dollar amount. So that was very, very exciting.
What are some of the colleges that they get accepted to?
Old Dominion, Norfolk State University, TCC. Also very exciting that we had colleges throughout, not just in Virginia, even though that was part of the Virginia College Week. So it was very exciting.
Great, great. So ladies, what do you believe is going to take to get Booker T fully accredited?
I believe we're moving in the right direction, staying positive, continuing to build relationships with our students and our parents and our community. I know that we have the best teachers, so I'm not concerned about our teachers. I know that they are working very hard. The administrators and the department chairman are working hard to make sure that what teachers are teaching is aligned to what the State Department is requiring of us to teach and to test. So I know that we're doing what we need to do there. It's just continuing to make sure that we're following up with our students, that we are having that communication and building relationships with them, because we can build a lot of programs, but if we're building programs and the students don't need those programs, then we're just building programs and putting some nice things on paper. So we are building relationships and asking students, what do you need? And we're trying to meet their needs. And so that's what we're doing on a daily basis, building relationships.
This is great, and I've heard that the community and alumni are coming forward wanting to support. What are some things that they're asking to do for Booker T?
They're asking about being mentors and tutors. They're asking, about our needs. What do we need? So we've posted on our website for them donations and supplies that are needed constantly for teachers, large Post-it notes, sticky notes, things that help our students be able to mark the text. We use a lot of whiteboards, so we go through a lot of dry erase markers. So we've put out a list of donations and supplies that we need all year, and we also put the information on the website for them to be mentors and tutors for our students.
So what's the website address?
The website is the NPS address under community, the community tab, and under volunteers, so that they can begin to be an A+ community partner.
Great, great, thank you.
We'll also continue, as our superintendent so nicely put, continue to inspect what we expect, and constant monitoring of the data is crucial, so that at a moment's notice we know exactly where our students are.
And this is great, and I'm glad you all came on the show to share this valuable information about Booker T. Washington High School. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now. Welcome back to NPS Now. With us today is Tidewater Park Elementary Principal, Dr. Sharon Phillips, and her math specialist, Brenda Dorman. Welcome to NPS Now, ladies.
Thank you, Karen.
We are great to have you on the show, and we know that Dr. King went to Richmond to request conditional accreditation for Tidewater Park, and you received it. What does this mean for your school?
It means great things for our school, Karen. It means that we had teachers who were relentless in their pursuit to ensuring that our boys and girls mastered the skills and the SOLs that they were taught. It means that we have 3 years in our efforts to become fully accredited. It means that we are doing the right thing and doing what's best for our children. So we're excited about having received conditional accreditation, and this is just a leg on our journey to full accreditation.
And this is only your 3rd year at Tidewater Park.
Yes,
and you've
it's been a
made
great 3
strides.
years, a great 3 years at Tidewater Park. It's a great small school, one in which children are committed to doing what it is we ask them to do, with a little push and nudge, of course, but they're doing great things there, and we've had our parents to buy into the efforts that we're making to improve the performance of our boys and girls, because they really are very intelligent boys and girls.
I bet they are, and I'm sure you, Brenda, have had an awesome time working with the students as being the math specialist. What are you or the teachers doing to help raise achievement on a daily basis for the students?
We're monitoring what the students are doing in small groups. Teachers are correcting student misconceptions right away while they're talking to the students. They have alternative ways that they can solve different problems. And we have teachers that are really dedicated to knowing what to do with math.
And then with the other content areas, I'm assuming they're doing some excellent things too.
Oh yes, definitely. We have a very, very effective communication skills specialist in Rhonda Epps, as well as very dedicated teachers in the area of reading. And everyone on our team understands the importance of small group instruction, and that it be a time whereby differentiation occurs, as well as specially designed instruction and really focused instruction on the areas that the children may show a deficit. So in reading, we've adopted the close passage, which is a research-based way of having our children dissect the paragraph and or a book or a story so that they can better understand, and when assessed, be able to comprehend using the strategies that we've employed them to have and utilize. We also purchased the American Reading Company series, whereby the children are leveled according to their Lexile score and their reading level, and they're able to be taught in the areas where, again, they show the deficit, and that's what you do to improve students' performance in reading.
So what are some unique things, and that's great, Sharon, what are some unique things you're doing just specifically in math as a math specialist?
Well, one of our weaknesses is problem solving, and so we've adopted our 5-step problem solving that the district is working on. We received training in that, and the teachers are helping use reading strategies, the closed passages that she's talking about, to target what the students are not able to understand. You know, you have to infer, you have to draw conclusions during our problem solving time to read the problems.
So what are some unique things oh, go ahead, Sharon.
Along those same lines, one of the things that we as teachers at Tidewater Park understand is that you have to show the connection between the content areas. And so, as Ms. Dorman just stated, we're showing the children how reading and math are interrelated, as are many, other public schools. But we have to show them that you can't just isolate the content, that math is in reading, math is in science.
Correlation between the two.
Exactly. And so while it's a great feat, it is one that we have to be able to have our children perform independently in order to be successful in life, as well as any, standardized assessment.
Right. So what unique programs are we doing, for our parents to keep them engaged with their child's education here?
Well, we have had parent night. We've had conversations with them about their children's performance here at school. We talk to our parents about the fact that they are their child's first teacher. and we want it to be a positive thing. Oftentimes at Tidewater Park, we have very young parents, and so sometimes we have to tell them things that we ordinarily wouldn't have to tell a parent of my age,
Right.
or even yours, since we're so close together.
Yeah.
But we have to tell them, you know, that their children watch more of what they do than what they say. And so when they come to the school, they're expected to be presentable. And so many people have commented on our sign on our front door, whereby we ask that parents not wear headgear or pajama pants, or that they're to cover up their entire body when they enter a public place where they're going to be taking care of business. And so those are things that we talk to our parents a lot about when we are meeting with them, because we know they have to set the standard first for our children, and then as a partner, we
Right.
will take over once they hit the schoolhouse door.
And it creates a positive school culture.
Yes, and our
And
parents
climate.
have been very receptive to it. And, you know, at first it was something different for us, but everyone understands that we're trying to change the culture. We're also trying to change, and I shouldn't say trying, we have changed what people think about Tidewater Park, because just because it's has that stigma attached as park does not mean that our children aren't very intelligent.
Exactly.
Does not mean that our parents do not care, because they do. They love their children and they want just what's best for their children, just as you and I do.
Exactly.
And so we want to give them our best, and so we've partnered with them to ask that they give us their best, and we're going to definitely give them ours.
And along with you all being a high quality top staff, there's a lot of training that's involved for not just the teachers, but for the staff. So what is some of the professional development as teachers you all are receiving?
Well, as teachers, we have the district support from, you know, our Bart Irwin, our senior coordinator, as well as Rhonda White. And they come to our school and they will help target some of the instruction that the students need. The teachers are involved in discussing it with them and planning lessons that are excellent quality. We also have, you know, the State Department lessons that we have from the VDOE, and that training with the videos that they have there, as well as Dan Mulligan, who is going to be coming to our district in January to provide teaching training for some of the higher level rigor that we need to incorporate in our lessons.
And then also too, Sharon, just real quick, because they're saying we may have to wrap up in just a second, but
Okay.
you all have great partners that come in and help you as well during the summer
And that's where I was
months.
going to go with that. We also have members from our OSTI office, the Office of School Improvement and Turnaround. I'm sorry, I think it's the OSTI office, the Office of
Okay.
School Turnaround and Improvement. It's headed by Dr. Willaford. They come in and provide assistance to me as the administrator by performing walkthroughs and then giving me feedback as an administrator, but also helping me with providing feedback to teachers. We also have the United for Children, who are very instrumental in our summer program. It's a branch of the United Way, and we had a summer university this summer completely funded by the United Way. And throughout the year, you feel their presence, where when they send mentors, they take our children on field trips, we receive supplies from them. We also get donations from Gethsemane Church. Just the community has embraced Tidewater Park, and that's what it's going to take for us to continue to improve.
And then also, and those are the things that it will take to help you become accredited.
Oh, definitely. The community has to be a part. Norfolk State University offers our children a free swim program, so our children swim Monday through Thursday at no expense to us. We have mentors who come in through, like I said, United for Children, as well as,
We
what's
have
the
the
name?
police department that
The
comes
police
in
department through the
does
Rotary
leadership.
Club, and yes,
So do you
Wave
think
Church.
those are the things that will take to help you get accredited?
Those are part of the things, but having a staff like I have, I'm very fortunate as a principal to have hardworking teachers who are committed to seeing that our children master the standards of learning.
Great. I'm glad you all came on the show to talk about Tidewater Park. We've learned a lot of great things from you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now. Welcome back to NPS Now. With us today is Dr. Mark Makovec, principal of Northside Middle School, and Northside's math chair, Jennifer McMullen Mueller. Welcome to NPS Now.
Thank you.
Glad to have you on the show today. We have other principals we're going to be interviewing today. But Mark, I'm going to start with you. While many of your testing numbers went up a bit, your school just missed accreditation. What areas do you think you need to improve upon to reach full accreditation this year?
Well, I think we need to improve upon every aspect. When we met this summer, we talked about what we can do differently. We're really focusing on our comparative data, where we're looking at unit tests to really look at our Tier 2 and Tier 3 students to see what we can do, to get our students where they need to be academically. Our teachers have been focused on them. We know who our recovery students are, meaning students who did not do so well on their SOLs the year before. We have remediation programs, we have credit recovery programs. So we have a number of remediation programs, but we're also looking at how we're delivering our instruction. Sometimes we wait until we get to the remediation aspect, but we're trying to do different things, looking at how we taught each unit last year. We're looking at what we call comparative data, where we look at our unit assessments from the year before, and we talk about how we taught this specific units last year to see what do we need to do differently to teach differently this year so we get better results. Our teachers have collaborative planning where they're meeting pretty much on a daily basis to talk about instructional strategies, talk about remediation, and more so talk about kids. When our teachers get together, they sit down and they talk about kids and what we can do differently, whether we do small group pullouts. And a new aspect that we have this year also is our core classes are given what we call a Form B assessment. So, we know that sometimes our kids are not going to understand the content immediately, but we give them multiple opportunities to demonstrate knowledge, content mastery. So our kids have opportunities to retest their unit assessments, for better grades, and more so for us to assess what they understand and what we can do differently to help reteach material that they might have missed.
And being that you were just so close, you think it's just a matter of just tweaking what you're already doing?
I do believe that, yes. This year we have a full-time math specialist as well, and we have a reading specialist that's offering support not only to our students but to our teachers as well.
So Ms. Mueller, I love you, that's a tongue twister. What types of things are going on in the classrooms to help your students achieve, and then how are they responding?
Well, I think what we really focus on as teachers is the data analysis component of it. We really do look back at what we did last year, and we see what new activities we can infuse in instruction to try to provide more support to students. And then we look at their informal assessments throughout the unit, like quizzes, an exit ticket at the end of the lesson, and we really do track every student's performance throughout the unit to try to get them the support they need prior to getting to the unit test. Once we have administered the unit test, teachers are really reflective on how they taught the unit, what went well, what didn't go so well, how can we reteach concepts that students didn't master, and then each teacher devises their own remediation plan in order to reteach students, and then we reassess them. We give them another test, because our goal is for students to really learn the material in the long run. We really want long-term understanding, conceptual understanding, not just learning for the moment for the test. And if a student doesn't master it right away, that's okay, because each student learns at their own pace. So we just want to meet them where they are.
It's like differentiation of instruction. And that's what my next question was going to be, and you kind of got into it. What does that support look like? Are you pulling students out? How does that look for each student?
There are several things that we do in the classroom. We facilitate small group instruction within the classroom, and we do a lot of peer learning where students really get to discuss the material among themselves, and they get to help each other. A lot of times students don't necessarily understand the way a teacher explains it. They learn really well from explaining from a peer, hearing it from someone their own age and how they would explain it in their own words. Right. So we do a lot of group activities together, so that way students can explain. We do small group pullouts. based on students' needs, various things like that.
Okay. And Dr. Makovec, what areas did your students need support in? From the results this
From the
year?
results last year, I mean, a focus continues to be math instruction and reading and writing. We've had a couple power planning days where we've given our teachers opportunities to, map out unit assessments where they'll design the unit test, and then based on the analysis, they'll create their instructional strategies that they'll do throughout the unit. We know that our kids are struggling with reading. We have Achieve 3000 that we implement. We have a reading specialist who goes into small group pullouts. So we're doing a number of things in the classroom to help our kids get where they need to. We have a Read 180 class that is designed for kids who are below grade level, where it's a computer-based program, and there's different modules that the kids complete, from comprehension to vocabulary skills, to writing components. So we're really trying to, focus on that reading and writing, and also, continue looking at the other core classes with mathematics, science, and social studies as well. This is the first year, or last year we had the 4x4 schedule, and we're continuing with the 4x4 schedule with science. We're continuing with the 4x4 schedule with social studies. So they have the 1 year of experience under their belt, in terms of getting that by a semester, and then having the kids take the SOL assessment in January. So we really try to give our teachers opportunities to utilize their planning, to analyze data, to come up with effective instructional strategies that increases student engagement.
And this is
I
perfect
think
for
that's one of the components that we look at is how can we improve student engagement. We have the IC3 grant right now. We're in year 3 of that, which is about cooperative learning, where, as Ms. Mueller indicated, the kids are working together and sorting out problems with one another, under the teacher, as the teacher facilitates the instruction.
What type of support are you receiving in the classroom, or your teachers are receiving in the classroom, professional development-wise, or training?
Well, we have had the power planning days, as Dr. Makovec mentioned. We also have a coach in place in our building under the IC3 grant who supports us in the power teaching. So she really provides a lot of support with giving teachers ideas of how to incorporate cooperative learning into their lessons. She also comes into classrooms and will model activities and work with small groups in order to really teach the kids how to have those meaningful discussions with each other. A lot of times we just assume that the students know how to speak to each other and have those discussions, but really they have to be taught how to ask each other questions and have those relevant conversations. We also have a math coach, a math specialist in our building this year, and he provides support for teachers in planning with providing activities and suggestions. He helps with the development of our unit tests and informal assessments such as quizzes. He also does a lot of push-in sessions in the classroom where he will come in and facilitate a mini lesson or model a problem-solving strategy for the teacher, and he'll pull a small group within the classroom and work with a small group of students while the classroom teacher continues the instruction with the rest of the students.
Sounds like a lot is going on. So what do you feel, Mark, just real quick, do you think it's going to take to get you all to full accreditation?
Well, it's going to take hard work, commitment, dedication from all of us. In addition to what we're doing instructionally, we also have a program, Northside Starbucks, where we're rewarding kids for behavior. We have a monthly Pacers with the principal. So we're really trying to, hold all of us accountable. It takes a village to raise a child, and I think reaching out, to our teachers, to our parents, to our community, and holding our kids accountable too. And having the kids understand the importance of education and how it impacts their lives. I mean, I've been fortunate because I've had the experience of being in high school, and we're trying to really get our kids in the middle school to prepare for what high school is going to be like. Through simple things, getting to class on time, doing your homework, reading 30 minutes a night. When we have the opportunities to meet with our parents parents, multiple times, we'll share with them, please, have your child turn off the TV, get off the video games, read 30 minutes a night, 40 minutes a night. Our kids have got to get, to the point where they understand how this can impact their lives and prepare them. We've taken, a task this year, and all of our 4 core have what we call interactive notebooks. We've purchased notebooks for all of our core classes, and all of our teachers now are utilizing interactive notebooks as a way to organize our kids, because far too often we got tired of seeing notes on the ground as kids are walking out. So we wanted to kind of take care of that, and we let our parents know that we're implementing interactive notebooks as a strategy to help our kids prepare, and stay organized. So, I just think it's going to, take, a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, which I know all of our schools are doing. I know all of our principals, all of our teachers are working very hard, because it's all about the kids, and we've got to give them the skill set to be successful, and that's what we're trying to do.
And it sounds like you're all on track. Great to have you here today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. We want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now.
Welcome back to NPS Now. I'm Steve Sutmiller, Senior Coordinator of Athletics. Today we have a special guest in the studio, Lemont Williams.
Yes, sir.
You're a product of Norfolk Public Schools, but with that, tell us a little bit about your Norfolk Public School experience. Where did you go to school? And then we'll move in from there.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Glad to be back home, hometown, my birthday month.
Okay.
So next week is my birthday, and I attended a lot of Norfolk Public Schools. Started off Lindenwood Elementary School. From there, I moved on to Norview Middle and went to Maury High School.
All right.
And I graduated from Maury High School in 1998.
Okay, at Maury High School, you were a student athlete.
Yes.
Which is kind of your platform and kind of how you've progressed in life, which is pretty neat. Talk about it a little bit. Tell us about Maury High School after Maury High School.
Yeah. Well, Maury, has a great tradition. My mom went to Maury. My uncles went to Maury, so it was only right for me to go to Maury. And when I first went to Maury, I was a freshman in 1994. And Maury had so much tradition from a school standpoint, but also of athletics. And being a guy that wanted to excel in athletics, I chose Maury because legendary coaches like Jack Baker, Coach Thornton at the time, he was coaching football. And Bobby Pennebaker, he was the head coach at the time. So when I got to Maury, it was an eye-opening experience. It was kind of like college. It was big, everybody was there. I was a little kid, in 1994. And as I progressed and got better in sports, a lot of things in school got better too, and I got better as a student athlete, and I graduated.
All right, so when you graduated from Maury, what was the next step?
Next step was college. You want to find a way to get to the next level, and that's college. At the time, Coach Pennebaker believed that I was a better football player than basketball player. And I didn't believe that, because I listened to Coach Baker, but at the time, Coach Pennebaker had a point. I was a better football player, and I earned a scholarship to Howard University. I was able to be recruited by Howard, and I was able to get out there and earn a scholarship, and that was the transition for me, was to go to college, and eventually I ended up graduating from Howard with a degree in business management.
Okay, that was going to be my question. What kind of degree did you get? And how has that degree led you into the sports broadcasting profession?
Well, it's funny, right? Because in school, you want to be a certain person. And when I went to Howard, I learned from Mindy Baker. At the time, she was my accounting teacher at Maury. And she said, you're really good at math. You need to study accounting. So when I got to Howard, that was my major early on, as accounting. Well, didn't really like accounting by the time I got into the major side of it, my junior year. So I switched to business management. And how that helped me as far as now in sports broadcasting, because we have to understand anything we do in this world is a business transaction. Everything is based around business. Okay. And it's no different than in sports broadcasting as a sportscaster. So I approached from a business standpoint of understanding revenue and understanding how to generate money through advertisement and things like that. And it just helped me always have a perspective of understanding the business aspect of it first. Now, does it help me having a business degree in sportscasting? No, but it quite helps. It helps me understand the back end of it, especially from the production side.
So at Howard, you played football?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So after your playing career at Howard, you were able to have an opportunity to try out with the Washington
Yes.
Redskins. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, that was a unique situation. Going to Howard, I wanted to continue to get better as an athlete, student athlete, and had the opportunity in 2003 to sign as an undrafted free agent under Coach Steve Spurrier for the Washington Redskins. They tried me out twice. And from learning from that experience, it was another transition for me and another platform where I was able to network and get a chance to meet people on the next level. Bruce Smith at the time is a legend here in Houston. In Norfolk. I say Houston because I live in Houston. But Bruce Smith, you know, all-time great here out of Norfolk, Virginia.
Hall of Famer,
Yeah,
Booker
Hall
T.
of Fame, Booker T. He was on the team, and I learned a lot from Bruce Smith at the time. He was on the back end of his career, so I learned the opportunity to be a professional. You know, understand this is my job and learn how to come in and out every day and give my all because this is how you make your living.
Okay.
So.
All right, so that kind of leads us to why you're here.
Yeah.
You've kind of gone through, and I've kind of mentioned, I've been with you for the last couple of days, and I've kind of started things off with saying that you've used your vehicle as sports to get to where you are today.
Yeah.
And Carlos Clanton with the Norfolk Education Foundation has hooked up with you
Yeah.
and has got you back into this area to help promote and talk to our students.
Yeah.
So what's the message that you're sending out to the students when you present to them?
Well, the three things I want to kind of hit home with the students, being here, I want to find a way to, you know, we have a generation now where it's like you got to engage with them, you got to connect with them. So first
Correct.
and foremost, I want to let them know that I understand where they're coming from. Having the chance to talk to Ruffin Middle School, Lake Taylor Middle School, and being a product from this environment, I know the struggles that they go through. I know the hardships that they deal with on a daily basis. Two, I had a chance to get with Carlos Clanton. Him and I went to Maury High School together. For him to be in that position and for me to have that relationship with him, I wanted to kind of reach out and give back because at this point in my life, I consider myself as a success as far as getting out of here and having the opportunity to see the world and make some really good money. So now I want to try to build on a legacy and try to get back home, see my mom, see my nephews and everybody back home.
Yeah, and I thought one thing that you did in the presentations to the two teams, you brought your mom with you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that was pretty unique.
Yeah.
You related some stories.
Yeah.
And that's good for them to see that as well, is that the foundation is home.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then the school system's that second layer to provide you that path to where you are now. So that, you know, I thought that was unique.
Well, I appreciate that. My mom means a lot to me. I mean, unfortunately, we suffered with some hardships in life. Back in 2007, my father was killed here, and my brother was killed in the same year. So having my mom as, you know, my backbone and having her to see me come back home, and that's another reason why I wanted to give back, because I went through a period of time where it was tough for me to even mention Norfolk because I had a tough 2007 year with my father and my brother. So now that I'm still healing and going through that process, in reverse, how can I turn a negative into a positive? Well, I need to get back home and I need to speak to these kids. I need to let them understand that even though you go through some hard times, you never want to forget where you come from. You want to also get back.
I mean, the message has been positive.
Yeah.
So just to kind of, and what we've done in the past couple of days too is also reminisced a lot.
Yeah.
Which is kind of neat for me because I like to see the student athletes that perform, go to the next level, and then, you know, see what they're doing in their career.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about your time at Norfolk Public Schools.
Okay.
What were some of the teachers, and I think you've mentioned a couple, but what were some of the coaches and teachers that helped you get to where you are right now?
Well, I mentioned Coach Baker and Coach Thornton. Those two guys stands out to me first and foremost at Maury, but it was plenty of other guys. I mean, I talked about Miss Mindy Baker. I mean, at the time she was Miss Kaiser. She was my accounting teacher. Miss Singletary. I don't know if she still works at Maury. I wasn't a great reader growing up. I was embarrassed to read out loud. And Miss Singletary, she was participated in the cheerleading team, and also she was the reading coordinator there at Maury, and she helped me enunciate my words. She helped me understand that, and that helps me today. The same technique she taught me then, I still do today. Before I even go on air, I'm working on my diction. I'm pronouncing words that ends with the ing sound. I don't cut the s's off on words because she taught me that early on, that you got to project your words. You got to have great diction. You have to enunciate. You have to take your time, slow down, not, you know, rush through your words. And because, you know, in this environment, growing up in Norfolk, everyone has a dialect. Everyone has a way of talking. But when you find out and you travel across the world, you realize I'm the only one that sounds like this because everyone else doesn't, Texas people have their way of talking. But in sportscast, kind of tied into sports broadcast, they want you to have a Midwestern sound. They want a standard English. They don't want you to sound like you're from the West Coast or from the East Coast or from the South. You got to sound standard.
Okay.
And that's what I try to work on.
Well, you are sharing a lot of good information. We appreciate from a school system and then from a community to have you back to talk to these student athletes. And not only you're talking to student athletes, but you're also talking to students in the classroom. So that's, again, just another good way to get out the message and to show some positive things that what you've done in Norfolk Public Schools and how you've progressed through your life has been great. So Lemont, we want to thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Continued success, and we'll definitely have you back here in the future.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thanks for allowing me to be the honorary captain of the championship game, and I'm happy to be back.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
More NPS Now after this.
Thank you for watching this 1-hour special episode of NPS Now. It airs weekly on WNPS, Channel 47, or you can view us online at www.npsk12.com. If you have any great story ideas or information you'd like to share, email us at npsnews@npsk12.com. Again, we want to thank you for watching NPS Now.